I've been trying to prove myself since the day I was born. As if doing good and achieving more and being productive and never being lazy and always doing my best and trying to have the best intentions and the cleanest house and the prettiest, everything would somehow prove that I am worthy and deserving of all the things that I have in my life. And frankly, it's exhausting. Hey, so this is something that's been on my mind quite a bit lately, is just this thought of how can I find balance between all the things I want to accomplish and the person I want to be in the world and reaching for my goals with all my heart, but also still taking care of my mental health, understanding that all those numbers and the growth and the productivity does not define my worth, and trying to kind of marry those two things so that I can continue to be productive and push myself towards those big goals that I want to achieve, but also be freaking happy doing it. It is in the discussion of this in my own brain and in my journals that I have come across this disturbing realization that I have always felt like I was capable of great things, but that I never truly deserved any of that. So somewhere deep inside, I have been trying to do enough to prove to, I guess, like literally everyone on the planet that I am a good and worthy person who has good intentions and is kind and is never misunderstood and is well beloved by everyone, which is basically, as we all know, completely impossible. But here's the thing. This is what I have also come to realize when I'm journaling and thinking through all of this, is that the more I push myself to achieve, the more I put myself at risk for failure and mistakes, which are inevitably going to happen because I am not perfect and none of us are. Also, every time my audience grows, there's a few more people who can't stand the sight of my face or don't like the things I have to talk about, or they want to criticize or disagree. And that is just the part of life that I have got to get used to. Nobody is universally loved. Nobody is for everyone. No one can be everything to everyone, including me. And I don't have to put that pressure on myself in order to be good and worthy. And this is part of what has been kind of holding me back, is because every failure, every mistake, every critical comment online just feels like proof that I don't measure up. So then I try harder and harder and harder to please people. But every achievement, every milestone, every new big goal reached is never enough to prove that I'm good enough forever. It's just a moment in time. And then I'm right back to beating myself up, as if there's some kind of balancing act going on in my heart and my brain that feels like anytime I achieve good things, I have to kind of balance it out with some sort of sabotage or self-deprecation or some reason why it's not enough, because otherwise I'm going to have someone come and try to take it away from me, or something bad will happen, because nobody can just be happy all the time, right? And these are some of the thoughts that have been going through my head. Then, on top of all this other pressure, we add time pressure to it all, right? Because that's something else that's been on my mind when it comes to my goals for this year, because it's not just let me prove myself and try to be well liked and to please everyone. It's also this impossibility of let me achieve everything I need to achieve in my life as fast as possible. And because there's this never ending to-do list, and every single time I achieve a milestone, there's another one waiting on the other side, then I'm never ahead. I'm never feeling like I am where I'm supposed to be. I'm always chasing that next thing. And there's always this kind of running calculation in the back of my head that's saying, okay, you're this old. If you don't do X by Y, Z is never going to happen. And that is also a difficult place of pressure to be constantly living with, because it's not just, let me do this fun, exciting thing at my own pace. Sometimes I know I do this, and I know there are those of you who do this too. It's this external pressure of, I have to do it quickly, because if I don't, then everything's going to fall apart, or things will lose momentum, or I'll never get where I was meant to go. The truth is, though, that side of me that pushes, that wants to prove myself, that wants the external validation, has really served me very well, because it has gotten me out of bed in the morning. It's helped me set goals high. It's helped me overcome my fear of putting myself out there. It's that voice that's always pushing. And that's been good for me, because it's helped me achieve a lot of things in my life. But it's also been bad for me, because it has stressed me out, and it has stolen so much of my joy. And I have to keep kind of reminding myself over and over again what that joy is and why I started this in the first place. And I think that sometimes can be part of life as a creator who also makes a living from your creation, or someone who puts yourself out there and turns kind of your passion and your hobby into your career, because it's going to be part of it that we're always trying to find that balance between wanting to make money, trying to grow our audience, but also continuing to love what we do and not allow any negative voices into our sacred creative space. Some of the ways I've been bringing joy back into my life are simple, like opening the blinds, tidying up, lighting a nice candle, spending extra time with the kids. And something else I feel makes a real difference is surrounding myself with beautiful things that make me happy. A special thank you to Rose Forever New York for sending these lovely red roses for the season. These real roses are preserved with natural oils, and they last up to a year, though I think mine are going to last over a year. They're in such good shape. They come in a large variety of colors, and they just bring beauty to my space. You can get them in round or square velvet boxes, and they even have this beautiful acrylic box with a drawer for your jewelry and washi tape. They have options in every budget, but right now they're having a 60% off sale for Valentine's Day if you want to treat yourself or buy a gift for someone special in your life. I have them in a variety of sizes, and they always make me smile. Rose Forever was gracious enough to offer our community a coupon code for $25 off, so I will post that code and link for you in the description. So what's the solution, right? As I start thinking about my goals for 2023, I really came up against this wall, because in our community, YouTube, the productivity community, and just in our Heart Breathings community, and in the world at large over the last couple of years, there have been some really good conversations about taking time for yourself, about resting, about giving yourself grace, about not having to push and hustle all the time, that it's okay to take breaks and all that. But what I feel like people don't ever really talk about when it comes to that conversation is that there are real consequences to taking time off. There are real consequences to slowing down. I went through some tough times over the last couple of years, like so many of us have. And, I know that it affected my energy and how I show up on this channel. It definitely affected my ability to write and how I show up with my fans. And taking that time sort of away just to be in survival mode had major consequences. Not being able to be as consistent, not being able to bring my best energy, not being able to write has resulted in less income or less sales in my writing career, has led to people potentially unsubscribing. Like I saw a comment somewhat recently where someone said that they used to enjoy Sarah's content, but then she started giving herself grace and I had to just walk away and roll my eyes. So there are consequences when we take a break, when we talk about our mental health, when we share things we're vulnerable about. about when we rest or when we have low energy. Those of us that are running businesses online, when we stop and slow down or lose consistency, or even if you're not trying to run a business online and you're just in survival mode, you can't exactly take 2 months off your job because you have to pay for food and gas and, take care of your kids and, all of those life responsibilities. So even though we can rest and try to transform, there are pieces of that that get really complicated when you have already built up an audience or you already have these responsibilities. It can be tough to take a step back and really focus on yourself, because that's a luxury that also causes more stress down the road if you lose some of the momentum you've been working so hard to get. So this has been some of the focus of the beginning of 2023 for me, is trying to figure out, how do I do the healing I need to do? How do I transform my energy and get where I truly want to be without losing momentum and everything that I've built so far? How do I take that sort of internal rest and change my habits and get clarity when I don't really have the luxury of taking time off, so to speak? And I know that so many of you have the same kind of situation. You've got a lot of responsibilities. You have so much on your plate, and you can't just take a few weeks off work to heal, or whatever. So how do we do it? What is the solution? And I just keep coming back to one simple truth. I need to learn how to truly and completely love and honor myself. And that's a scary thing to admit, because I immediately want to defend myself and say, well, of course I love myself. I mean, I don't hate myself. But truthfully, the way I speak to myself in my head, the way I treat myself, the way I push myself constantly, and then don't actually give myself credit for the things I actually accomplish, the way that I deny myself rest sometimes, the way that I deny myself pleasure or steal my own joy by comparing myself to other people, that type of behavior is not a behavior of self-love. That is a behavior of a narcissistic parent that I have just perpetuated that cycle onto myself. And I am so done with it. I am so over it. I am tired of living that life where I don't truly just love myself unconditionally. So this is my self-love manifesto. This is my determination, my biggest goal for 2023. And it has taken me a little bit of time. I mean, here we are, getting a good bit into February, and I'm just now really talking about my goals, because it has taken me some time to really solidify why this is so important to me. Because I know that all of the great things that I've accomplished, like the biggest ideas, the children in my home, my relationship with my husband, creating this YouTube channel, writing my first book, like all of that comes from such a pure place of love. I love planners and I wanted to share them. I wanted to create a YouTube channel. That was so fun. It just came from a place of passion. I was passionate and loved teaching people about self-publishing. And I was doing it long before I ever charged for a course or started a YouTube channel. I was having lots of conversations with people about, here's how you do this and here's what I've discovered. And that was just a pure joy and love for me. And same thing with my writing. Telling those stories, writing those first few books was just nothing but love. But there's this thing that happens when we take our love and our passion and we ask it to pay the bills and we ask it to get us higher in life and reach higher milestones. And we put this responsibility onto our passion of, well, okay, now you have to take care of me. And now you have to prove to me that I'm worthy and worthwhile. And sometimes giving it this career where you've got numbers and metrics and data that tell you whether you're good this week or not as good this week, whether you're achieving or whether you're slowing down, whether you're hitting high momentum or everything's falling apart. We have numbers now that tell us that. We also have people commenting on our stuff, criticism, and we have, this constant feedback from everyone on who we are, how we look, what we're doing, what our talents are, how we're spending our time, how we're spending our money. This is just part of taking your passion and putting it out into the world and giving it to other people and then asking for it to give us back, money and career and income. And because of that sort of transactional part of the passion, it can often lose its sparkle. It can lose its joy and its spark. And actually, this is why, I've told you guys so many times about my love for dragonflies, because that was a message for me in my life years ago now, before I started YouTube, that was telling me, don't forget the reason you started this whole thing in the first place. Don't forget the passion behind it. While the growth and the money and the, bestseller lists and all of that can be really fun, the downsides can be really hard too. And we have to love it enough to sustain it through the vulnerability and the mistakes and the downs and all of that. So I am yet again reminding myself and coming back to this place where I want to just create from a place of fun and passion. And of course, I have to still keep my eye on those metrics, because that's part of running a business. I have to still pay attention to my budget and my taxes and all of that kind of practical stuff. But I just want to find that balance. And I think that for me, the solution of really finding that balance is to love myself so thoroughly that when I have down weeks, or when the money isn't coming in, or when I fall short of being able to publish something fast enough, I can still rest on the fact that, okay, so that was disappointing, but man, I still love and accept myself completely, despite my mistakes or my flaws or, what anyone else thinks of me. And that is my biggest passion and desire right now, is to get to that place where I am standing tall in my own confidence and my own love and respect for myself. And that is a very difficult and vulnerable thing for me to share here on this channel, because with that also comes the knowledge that when you say you want to truly love yourself, it's like, I know in my head, I can hear this voice that says, you don't deserve that love. Who does she think she is? Or there's also voices out there that think, oh my gosh, she already loves herself too much. She's already full of herself, that is so much my mother's voice. Is like when I told her I was struggling with my self-confidence, she told me, struggling? You've always had more confidence than you had ability. And I think that I still allow that voice. Sorry, I just get so emotional on this channel sometimes talking about this stuff, but I still allow that voice to take up resonance in my head and drown out the love. And I want to change. I want the passion and the love to be so strong that I teach my children how to love themselves. I want my passion and my self-love to be so strong that no matter what my numbers are, or where I'm disappointing people, or no matter what anyone else thinks of me, I always have my own back and I can always be my own cheerleader. And instead of trying to please everyone or be everything to everyone, I can instead stand here and listen to my own intuition. And I know that it's a balance, because obviously I want to create videos and I want to create books that other people want to consume. I want the things I create to be popular and well loved, but not because I tried to manipulate them into that, but rather because my own passion for it was so strong that it sort of just blossomed out to everything around me. And so that's my goal for 2023, is to truly love and accept myself. Radical, evolutionary self-love. And, the word that I chose for this year for myself is faith. And that plays into this self-love, because I want to have faith in myself. I want to have faith that what I'm doing in the world makes a difference, even if it doesn't make a difference to everyone, that it's making a difference to some people. I want to have faith that no matter what may come, what challenges may come, I know I've got it. I've got my back. I've got my family, that I'm a protector, that I am a leader. And I want to have faith that the work that I am doing in the world is true to myself and to my own values. And so that's the goals that I'm working on this year. How I'm going to do it. Part of the reason I wanted to talk about it on this video today is because it's going to affect my content. I'm not going to always have high, happy, love myself energy every single video, but this journey is going to weave its way into my social media and to my videos and vlogs that are coming up here. So I just wanted to bring you along and kind of update you on some of that journey for myself. And because I know that there's people watching right now who need to be on a path of learning to love yourself too. Because maybe like me, you grew up with a family that taught you that you were not good enough no matter what you did, or that you weren't worthy of love, or that you didn't deserve to love yourself, or that you shouldn't love yourself, or maybe you were criticized all the time. And, living and growing up like that as a child has real consequences when we get into adulthood. And so if you need to be on a self-love healing journey, then come with me. Let's learn together. I'll share with you some of the tips I'm doing, and I hope you'll share with me too. So one of the things that I'm going to be focusing on is my self-image. And I know that this can be a subconscious thing too. So I'll talk more about this in a future video, but I want to work on what I think of myself instead of always looking to what other people think of me. I want to hold my own opinion of myself in higher esteem. And sometimes I don't think much of myself. And in fact, I'm really, really hard on myself, and I sabotage myself, or I say mean things to myself. And so that's one of the first lines of self-love defense here, is learning to speak highly of myself and to have a better vision or view of who I am. Another part of learning to love myself is getting back to the fun of just pure intuition, like childlike wonder. Going to Disney a couple of weeks ago, I mean, my cheeks hurt so much because I was just laughing and smiling and having so much fun. And I didn't worry about anything the whole time I was there. And it's been a really long time since I just allowed myself to just laugh and have fun and to just not have a care in the world. And I want to have more of that. And I feel like the more fun I have in that way, where I'm not judging myself or being negative about myself, the more the love can find its ways through the cracks. That joy opens a little crack in my tough exterior and allows the love to flow in. Another thing that I'm kind of putting on my list is to focus more on things that don't involve my online life. So getting more grounded in my body. So more exercise, more nourishing of my body, taking care of my physical space, and creating a home here that feels good, regardless of what's going on the outside or the internet or the world at large. So growing more in my garden, spending more time with my family just here, like having a fire outside or going for a walk, or we've been going to the park more and more often lately so the kids can be on their scooters, or like getting on the treadmill and getting more in my body, and just having those experiences and this place that feels like a sanctuary from the external world, where I know that no matter what anybody else thinks of me, I have this family unit that I can fill this home with love. We have been in this house now for almost exactly a year. We moved in a year ago next week, and we have really gone a long way turning this into a home for ourselves. And I just want to keep moving forward on that and taking more that to me also involves setting more boundaries around my time, like no phone and answering messages at the dinner table, no worrying about social media when I first wake up in the morning. So creating those boundaries is also part of loving myself. And finally, on my list is just working on my energy. And I think that last piece about creating a safe home for myself and working out and nurturing myself is a big part of that energy, but also focusing on my spiritual life, listening to my intuition instead of the opinions of others, and just getting back to that place of knowing inside myself that I love what I'm doing and that I am following my own passions. I think that's going to be great. So working on things that increase my energy, like the Rose Forever, like having beautiful flowers in the home, keeping my space clean, getting lots of rest, getting on the treadmill or getting that energy work done, but also the energy that comes from just speaking nicely to myself in my head, doing things that bring me joy more often, and all of that. So that's the journey I'm on in 2023. That's the biggest goal. And I still have, my other goals, but it has taken me all this time, the beginning of this year, kind of getting things off slowly because I've been really letting these thoughts marinate, so to speak. I've been really putting a lot of thought into it and how I want the rest of this year to go and what I want to work on. And so if you are also on a journey of learning to love yourself more and find that confidence and get back to your joy, then we are in this together. And I am so grateful that you give me this space and this platform to talk about it and to be vulnerable and to be real, because it really means a lot in my own personal journey. And I am truly hopeful that it means a lot to many of you as well. So we're all in this together. I don't know how it's going to turn out. It's scary, but it may also just be the greatest gift I ever gave to myself. How is it all going to turn out? Stay tuned.